Her call came at 3:11 a.m. Swiss time, Thanksgiving night back in the States. My phone vibrated against the marble countertop, once, twice, then again, as if something frantic had crawled through the line. I ignored it. I kept rinsing the wine glass, watching the reflection of the alpine moon tremble in the water. The 70-second call finally stopped. A minute later, a message arrived, audio, shaky, breathless. I didn't play it, not yet. I already knew the pattern of her panic. 2 hours earlier, I had posted a single photo in our old family group chat. My villa overlooking Lake Lucerne, the glass facade glowing warm against the snow. No caption, no explanation, just truth. The calls exploded after that. But the first call, the one that started the spiral, arrived before the photo, right after a stranger at her wedding whispered something that split her veneer clean in half. I didn't attend the wedding, of course. Why would I? She married her lover within days of our divorce being finalized, a celebration of deceit wrapped in white. But I felt the shift the moment she dialed me from the venue. A soft breath, a quiver, a crack under the music. Why didn't you come?" she asked. Not rage, not triumph, something else, something frightened. I held the phone, silent, staring out at the icy lake. The truth always arrives eventually, and it never needs an invitation. Months before that night, I sensed something hollow growing beneath our marriage. The pauses in her voice, the late returns, the sudden need for privacy on a phone that once lived face up on the counter. Denial tried to shield me. It always does. I told myself she was tired, overworked, distracted. But her eyes told a harsher story, one that trembled every time I asked simple questions, like where she'd been, or why her perfume didn't smell like hers anymore. The first real fracture came the day she said my name as if testing its weight. We were sitting across from each other, eating dinner, the silence thickening the air. "You trust me, right?" she asked. The fork slipped in my hand, not because the question was suspicious, but because she suddenly needed the answer. Trust doesn't need reassurance, guilt does. I kept my face calm, tired, neutral. "Yes," I replied, my voice cold enough that she didn't look deeper. But inside, something sank, a truth I wasn't ready to articulate. Someone else was living in the walls of our marriage, someone she let in long before she walked out. I moved quietly, methodically. I didn't accuse, didn't rage, didn't confront. I simply watched. I studied her phone patterns, when it faced down, when messages came late, when the screen lit up at unnatural hours. I traced credit card charges, matching timestamps to her fabricated stories. I followed the digital fingerprints she thought vanished. People don't hide affairs, they leave breadcrumbs out of arrogance, believing the one they betray is too blind or too loyal to follow. One evening I returned home early and heard her in the kitchen, whispering, laughing softly in a way she hadn't with me in months. I didn't enter. I stood outside the door, hands steady, pulse steady, letting her voice carve another cut. Later that night she crawled into bed beside me, her skin still warm with foreign guilt. She kissed my shoulder, an apology she didn't know I understood. I stared at the darkness. I was no longer grieving, I was documenting. I ordered DNA tests, checked phone records, retrieved deleted texts from backup servers she forgot existed. Every discovery tightened the cold around my ribcage. She wasn't just unfaithful, she was calculating, comfortable, certain I would never know. That certainty was my weapon. 4. Major reveal. The truth lands. The results came on a Wednesday morning, crisp and irrefutable. The timeline of her affair stretched back further than she ever admitted. Even before our anniversary trip, even before the night she cried from stress. Her lover wasn't new. He was embedded, a shadow stitched into our history. I printed the evidence, neat, unemotional. That evening I laid the pages on the dining table. No accusation, no explanation, just truth arranged in quiet lines. She arrived home humming, still carrying the illusion that she controlled the narrative. Her eyes dropped to the documents. The humming stopped. Then the breathing. Where did you get all this?" she whispered. I looked at her like she was a stranger who'd wandered into the wrong house. "I only asked the questions you never expected me to," I said. She broke then, hands trembling, voice stammering. She tried to touch me, plead, justify, rewrite. I didn't move, not even when her tears fell onto the pages of her own betrayal. Truth doesn't require participation, only acknowledgement. 5. Cold confrontation, revenge moment. I didn't fight for her. I didn't beg. I didn't even ask why. I simply walked away, moved abroad within weeks, signed the divorce papers with a steady hand, bought my villa with silence, bought by years of restraint. She married him days later, rushed, almost desperate. A celebration born out of fear, not love. And then, at the wedding, a guest said something that sliced through her curated fantasy. "Funny, he bought the Switzerland villa alone, didn't he? And you didn't get a cent." Her facade cracked instantly. Then she called me, again and again, over and over, 71 times after she saw the life I built without her. And her daughter-in-law's voice earlier, "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." I only replied, "Enjoy." I didn't need to raise my voice. My life did the speaking. 6. Closure, emotional detachment. Now, as the alpine wind brushes against the glass, I finally play her shaky audio message. A breath, a sob, a whisper of regret she never thought she'd feel. I listen calmly, not with satisfaction, not with nostalgia, just clarity. Her world collapsed under the weight of a truth she built herself. Mine expanded the moment I stopped carrying her lies. I delete the message, not out of anger, but because it no longer belongs to me. The past doesn't deserve space in a life finally free. And in the silence that follows, I feel nothing except the clean, quiet certainty that I have finally stepped out of her shadow. I didn't destroy her. She did. I simply walked away before the collapse reached me.